Have you ever felt like you're surrounded by a secret language, one that's influencing you in ways you don't even realize? Well, you are. It's called graphic art, and it's this invisible design that organizes, persuades, and directs us every single day. So let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how it works. Take this. I mean, you've seen it a million times, right? You know exactly what it means the second you look at it. But this isn't just some logo. It's an incredibly powerful piece of communication with a really fascinating story. And don't worry, we'll get back to that story. This is the perfect place to start, though, because this is graphic art doing what it does best. So, what exactly is graphic art? Well, at its heart, it's any visual art that's all about one thing: communication. It's not just about making something look nice, it's about sending a clear, intentional message. Think of it as the sweet spot right where pure art and practical design meet. Now, to really get a grip on graphic art, we've got to go back in time. Its history isn't just some boring list of dates and names. No way. It's a story that's totally driven by huge technological breakthroughs that completely changed how we see and share information with each other. In fact, you can pretty much boil down the entire history into 3 revolutionary leaps. First, we needed something to put our ideas on. Then, we needed a machine to copy those ideas for everybody. And finally, we needed a tool to create and change those ideas in an instant. Each one of these was an absolute game changer. So our journey starts way, way back, around 2500 BC. The Egyptians were already masters of graphic communication. They were using papyrus to combine their written symbols, hieroglyphics, with actual illustrations, creating some of the world's first illustrated stories. This was the very beginning of that powerful idea, mixing text and images to tell a much richer story. Okay, now let's jump forward in time, a lot, to 1450, when Johannes Gutenberg's printing press shows up and just changes everything. All of a sudden, books and images didn't have to be copied by hand anymore. This incredible innovation meant art and knowledge could be mass-produced and ideas spread across Europe like wildfire. And that third revolution? Well, that's the one we're all living in right now. The personal computer basically put a digital studio on every single desk. Powerful software gave artists the ability to create, edit, and experiment with images at lightning speed. It just completely unleashed the era of modern digital design. But, technology is only half the story, right? It's just a tool. The real magic happens when a visionary artist picks up one of those tools and creates something nobody had ever seen before. So let's look at a few of the pioneers who really defined their eras. We're going to zero in on 3 key figures who each took the technology of their time and just ran with it: a Renaissance master, a Parisian poster pioneer, and a 20th century design icon. First up, Albrecht Dürer. So back in the Renaissance, Dürer saw the printing press as more than just a machine for copying words. He looked at it and thought, wait a minute, this is a machine for making art. He pushed this revolutionary idea that a mass-produced print could be just as powerful and beautiful as a one-of-a-kind painting. So how did he do it? Well, Dürer became an absolute master of engraving and woodcuts. These techniques allowed him to create prints with an incredible, almost unbelievable amount of detail and complexity. His work basically proved that art made for the masses could also be high art. All right, let's hop in our time machine again. Just as Dürer harnessed the printing press, Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec grabbed hold of a new technology that was popping up in 19th century Paris. It was called lithography, a process that allowed for big, vibrant, colorful posters for the first time, and it arrived just as modern cities were exploding with life. And Toulouse-Lautrec saw his moment. He took art out of the stuffy, quiet galleries and just plastered it all over the city streets. His bold, expressive posters for dance halls and cabarets, well, they turned advertising into a genuine art form and completely changed the look and feel of public space forever. And that, my friends, brings us to the modern era, and to the designer behind that mystery logo from the beginning, the one and only Milton Glaser. He was an absolute giant of 20th century design who really understood that in a world that's just getting louder and louder, sometimes the most powerful messages are the simplest ones. Yep, that's right. He's the artist who famously sketched this very logo in the back of a taxi. I Heart NY became so much more than just an ad campaign. It became a global symbol of love, of affection, and of resilience. I mean, if you want a perfect example of graphic art's power to capture a huge, complex emotion in one simple mark, This is it. Okay, so we've talked history, we've talked artists, but what does any of this mean for you, right now in your daily life? Well, this invisible language has a huge impact, often in ways you probably don't even notice. Let's forget about museums and brand logos for a second. Think about something way more ordinary, but unbelievably important: street signs. The design of these signs, that's a life or death application of graphic art. Seriously. For decades, New York City used street signs written in all capital letters. But then, research showed that this was actually harder for us to read quickly, especially from a distance. The new design uses both upper and lowercase letters. So why the change? It's because the different shapes of lowercase letters create a more distinct word shape, which allows our brains to recognize the whole word much, much faster. And this isn't just about making things look a little nicer. That tiny little design tweak is expected to make navigating the city easier and, most importantly, to actually reduce accidents and injuries. That is the true power of graphic art. Good design can literally save lives. So, from ancient Egyptian papyrus to the street corner you live on, graphic art is this hidden language that shapes our world. It's in the apps on your phone, the books you read, and the signs that guide you home safely. The only question is, now that you know how to see it, what are you going to notice next?